Hello people, welcome to the $49.99 movie machine. Today I'm going to show you how to make beer. Times are tough, as you know, we're gardening, we have ducks, but when times really get tough, one of the best things to know how to do is how to make beer. It's a complex process of which you take malted barley that you buy at the store. It's been crushed up and you soak it for about an hour at 150, 160 degrees, and you drain the water off, and that will give you a sugary water called wort. You then bring that to a boil, throw in what are called hops. Hops are a plant. They add a bitter flavor to the beer, and they also have probably some kind of an effect also. That's why people who drink beer are called hop heads. And then you boil that mixture for approximately an hour, hour and a half. Cool it down to about 75 degrees, throw your yeast on it, let it sit for a week, and then you have beer. Here we are at the DeFalco's. We're going to go into the DeFalco's and buy approximately 12 pounds of domestic 2-row pale malted barley, and then probably a half pound of darker roasted malted barley that adds a little color and flavor to the beer. We already have an abundance of hops, and I believe we already have the yeast that we need. So all we really need in here is around 12 to 13 pounds of ground malted barley. Here we are inside the DeFalco's, and we will put 12 pounds of domestic 2-row malted barley into the bucket. British medium crystal for color. Alright, those are our grains. Now we have to find the dude who grinds them, and then we'll be ready to go. Okay, we've begun to brew our beer. The first stage is to bring approximately 7.5 gallons of water to around 170 degrees Fahrenheit. And in order to do that, we've got our pot of water here, and it's on top of our propane burner. We've got our new propane tank, and we're heating the water up. It's a little over 110 degrees right now. This is our dry grains. We've now put them inside the cooler, otherwise known as the louder tune, in which we will put the hot water and allow it to soak. Okay, we're back. Our water has heated up to 170 degrees, and this is the really dangerous part of making beer, is that you have 7 gallons of 170 degrees scalding hot water in a pan out here on a rickety propane tank. But I've taken the liberty of pouring the water into the grains that I showed you earlier, and there it is. And now the next step is to stir this all around. There they are. You want to mix it up real good because the grains get clumpy in there. Now we are going to verloff the beer, which is basically to slowly drain it from the little valve until the grains compress and they become kind of a filter. We'll keep pouring the wort back into the top of the cooler until the grain bed settles down, and the beer will then flow clearer into our bucket here we have to collect the wort. As you can see, the first draining has a lot of pieces of grain and stuff in it. We're now collecting the first runoff of the wort. It looks kind of dark. It's a beer itself will be a light ale. It won't be very dark at all. It'll be much more diluted by the time we run a second batch of hot water through our drain bed. Okay, we have approximately 2.5 gallons of wort at this stage after our first draining. So what we do now is we refill the cooler and stir the grains and rinse some more sugar off. Okay, we're on our final draining of the wort in the grain bed. There's our grains all drained. And there's our pot of wort. Looks like at least 7.5 gallons, which we will now proceed to boil for about another hour and a half and add the hot. Our wort is now back on the propane fire, and as soon as it comes to a boil, we'll add our first round of hops. The wort is very close to boiling. Okay, our wort is boiling, and I'm going to start adding our hops. As you can see, it boils over. I've already lost a little bit down there, but we've got plenty of wort here. So I'm going to start adding the hops. And usually that was 1 ounce. As you can see, it excites quite a bit when you add the hops. Here, I'll stir it. I'm trying to keep it from boiling over at this point, losing most of the hops. Beer. I'm going to add one more ounce of hops. Expect the same exciting reaction. There they go. That was 2 ounces of Cascade hops, which are very popular hop, and they have kind of a grapefruity flavor, is how it's often described. We're going to prematurely end this segment at about this time of a wrap-up. This beer is kind of complicated. We added our second round of hops to the boiling wort. It's in there. We've had a few boil overs. The wort's going to boil for another 30 minutes, and then we'll allow it to cool. We have to cool it to about 75 degrees, and we'll put it into a white bucket or a fermenter, and it'll sit in there with the yeast for about a week and go through its primary fermentation, where the sugars that we've created in the wort will be converted to alcohol by the yeast. After a week, I'll move it to a glass jar, a large glass jar, and it'll sit there for another week and allow more of the yeast to drop out and clarify, and then I will move it to my kegerator. That's how you make beer.